All right, everybody. Welcome to our Horizon Weekly Insider number 129. Today is Monday, March 28th of 2022. We are live on Discord and YouTube as usual. Thank you for joining us, and please be aware that we are recording this call, but you can also check it out later in our Horizon podcast. Also, please remember to ask your questions on Menti for the team. So we are going to be answering the top three at the end. Let's kick it off as usual with our updates from the engineering department. Welcome, Alberto.
Hi, Angie. Thank you. Okay, so starting as usual with Zundu. Last week, we successfully released a new version that is 3.10, and you can find all the related details on our blog post. In parallel, we have already sent out 3 rounds of notification out of 4 to all of our partners and to keep them informed about the new release and our miners, node operators, exchanges, third-party wallets, and so on. We plan to send a total of 4 rounds to make sure everyone updates to the new software. And the next communication will happen the next week. And then, together with the release, last week we also continued the development of the main chain block reference circuit, where we are now working on some unit tests covering general scenarios before proceeding with the ones meant to check specific behaviors. Okay, switching to the SDK side. Last week, we officially released the Blaze SDK version 0.30 that introduces many new features that you can find well described on the GitHub repository. Together with this release, we have been also working on other related tasks like the extension of the SDK documentation and the update of the Lumber registry sidechain example to be made compatible with the newest version of Blaze. And apart from the related release activities, we have been also working on multiple other things. For example, adding the possibility to disable the C sidechain withdrawal support for the sidechains, and that can be very useful. For example, if you are a developer, a sidechain developer, and you don't need, the C sidechain withdrawal functionality, and especially if you're working on rec test and test, and to speed up things while you're developing. Furthermore, we are also working to enhance sidechain nodes in terms of synchronization and storage. And these improvements are still ongoing, and we are planning to deploy them in one of the next releases. Last update on the SDK. Last week, we have also started working on the final version of the EVM sidechain. And in particular, we are focusing on the design for the integration of specific elements of the Ethereum virtual machine and Horizen sidechain. And here, we are covering the introduction of the full account model, having a broader view on what regards the tools that needs to be interfaced with the EVM sidechain. So the goal is to have the EVM sidechain compatible with most of the tools that are currently running on, for example, on Ethereum, and so this implies structuring the final model of the VM sidechain node in a certain way. So for the prototype, we addressed some of these elements, but for the final version of it, we are still going through the design of some of these elements. So this is ongoing. Okay, now switching to the proving system. Last week, we continued to perform a lot of code reviews sessions for different parts of the code. And among the several reviews, we completed the first review cycle for the polycommit verifier gadget. While doing this, we identified several possible optimizations for the gadget, and we have already started the development of such optimizations. So that should be all for today. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you so much, Alberto. All right, so let's continue with Erica to provide us the marketing updates.
Hey everyone, happy Monday. So last week we announced our partnership with Solve Finance. The partnership will expand the capabilities of our platform by giving developers access to financial NFTs in a marketplace pioneered by Solve. If you would like to learn more about it, please check out our blog that I'll share shortly in chat. This week, the team is also preparing for Paris Blockchain Week Summit, which is April 12th to the 14th. We'll have a few of our team members in the area, so if you're attending the conference, please stop by our booth and come say hi. And we also have a new ambassador in the program. You guys may know DeFi Money Printer from his activity in our social channels, such as chat here. I'm really looking forward to supporting him as our new ambassador, so please give him a nice warm welcome. And by way of welcomes, we also welcomed a new member to the marketing team, Brian, who is joining us as a marketing associate. Brian, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the team.
Sono collegato adesso.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Nolan, and as Erica said, I recently joined the team as a marketing associate. Really excited for this opportunity, looking forward to connecting with the community. Previously, I was the marketing coordinator at a finance and event company where we hosted an event in the crypto space. But ultimately, I wanted a role that was a little bit more hands-on in the industry, and that's when I landed on this awesome opportunity with Horizen. I've been pretty interested in the crypto industry for some time now. I find it incredibly fascinating and ever-changing, and I'm excited I get to work right in the middle of it. In my spare time, when I'm not keeping up with crypto Twitter, I enjoy watching sports. I also coach a youth baseball team with my roommate, and I enjoy going on hikes with my dog. Currently, I'm based out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Excited to get to know everyone and help any way I can. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brian. And back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Welcome, Brian, and also super excited. All right, let's continue with Victor for the product and engineering updates.
Thanks, Angie. I just posted our update in the chat room. Mainly for this week, we are impacted as well by the update of Zundu. So in testnet is going to be tomorrow the deadline for us to update our nodes, because we have several sidechains for internal testing in testnet, and so we had to update the nodes to let them work with the new version. We are currently rebasing ZK Audit to the latest version of Blaze as well. And the tokenization platform V1 is in testnet since several days. Actually, we are about to share publicly the address for the Explorer. We are just fine-tuning, let's say, some security around, and let's say we want also the web wallet to be released as well for you to be, let's say, to have something to do on this sidechain. The web wallet has gone through an audit process, so we are now in the middle of it. Of course, there will be several actions to correct the audit findings right after, but being in testnet, we will understand which are required prior to the public testing and which are not. So I'm confident that we will have soon something for you to test. Of course, we are working on the updated version of the sidechain, just to be working in parallel. And we brought the majority of the development to support the basic functionality for NFTs on the sidechain as well. This sidechain will be available for internal testing by the end of next month. The basic functionality will include making an NFT, building, declaring a new NFT collection, and minting for the, let's say, the owner's wallet as many of the entire collection NFTs. And pretty much the basic functionality are these. Not regarding the NFTs, another functionality will be the delegated proof of stake. So given that we are trying also in testnet a phased rollout, just like what the one we will have on mainnet, we start having this closed network of nodes that are owned by us. and to be able to allow others to stake on this sidechain, we will include the delegated proof of stake so that users can decide to stake some money by selecting one of our forgers. We are working on the monitoring system that is for which the development has started. The architecture is defined, and we let's say that the part that won't change is that there will be one part that will make available data for everybody that will prefer working directly on data, and another one that will be mainly brought forward based on our internal requirements for a dashboard. That will be our front end. And that's pretty much all. Thanks.
Thank you, Victor. All right, so Rob is not here today, but we have Dean to cover for him. So let's welcome Dean for the leadership updates.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Yeah, so as Angie mentioned, Rob is recovering from his trip to Milan. And I thought I would just share with you guys a little of the feedback I've gotten from Rob. I'm sure he will give us a full breakdown on next week's Weekly Insider. But everything I've heard from Rob is, not surprisingly, super optimistic. He's very excited with how the team in Milan is growing. So both in terms of like the actual number of team members, new offices, and also the quality of the team. I think he was very pleasantly, I don't know if surprise is the wrong word, but he was very pleasantly happy with the sophistication of the team and just what a great job we're doing in terms of adding qualified, competent team members. So everything out of Milan was fantastic from Rob's perspective. I know there were a lot of high-level strategic tech roadmap conversations, and I'm sure Rob will be sharing those with us next week. I guess I just want to say welcome to the team, Nolan. New Mexico, that was a new one. I think we're adding team members everywhere. And our new ambassador clearly has the best name in crypto, DeFi Money Printer. Very cool. I should have thought of that instead of Dean Legal. But the piece that I guess I'll just mention, and Rob talks about it every week, but I think it's just so important for us to, as a community, all be aligned and moving in the same direction. What we're seeing right now is the development of our sidechain network, and it's really starting with tokenization, which is our tokenization platforms already in testnet, and the EVM, which is really moving at a rapid pace. And I think there are expectations that it will be done sooner than expected. And what these do for us is, number one, open up the entire ecosystem for developers who have already built a number of applications and tools in Solidity and in the Ethereum world to bring those into Horizen. So it's essentially bootstrapping our entire ecosystem. And so from the outside perspective, most people are very busy tracking metrics like total value locked. And if you were to do that on the Horizen ecosystem, you'd be disappointed because there's not a lot of value locked in smart contracts yet. And what's going to happen once our EVM goes live is all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of liquidity and assets move from other ecosystems into Horizen. And so to the outside world, it will look like we're an overnight success. Wow, Horizen went from zero total value locked to billions of dollars total value locked overnight. Putting that in quotes if you could see me. But the reality is we've been working very hard towards this goal for years now. So I hope everybody on this call isn't surprised when that happens. You've been following the project, you see where we're at. And I think maybe afterwards we can all take a moment to celebrate that with the arrival of tokenization and the EVM, we in the Horizen ecosystem have arrived and taken a place amongst all of the other projects that we've been comparing ourselves to for all these years. So with that, I'll leave it there and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Dean, and thank you everybody as well for contributing with your questions. All right, so let's see. The first one is, please give us more details regarding EVM sidechain. When do you expect data on testnet and mainnet?
Actually, that's probably a better question for Alberto.
I was waiting for that.
I don't think I'm not going to use Rob's go-to strategy.
Okay. First, let's start from what we already done. In the past weeks, we have been developing a prototype that, let me say, implements the basic features. I mean, some of the basic features of the EVM sidechain that we supposed to be implemented. Now we started this new phase where, let me say, we are, for example, looking for, as I was saying before, the tools that are needed to be compatible with the sidechain. So, for example, just to mention one, MetaMask, but many others. And so we are currently performing the design sessions that are, let me say, needed for evaluating the missing pieces that weren't yet addressed in the prototype and that are necessary instead for the final model. So this is just to say that we are currently still in the phase of refining the design in a way that then we will be able to, let me say, communicate a proper timeline and release roadmap. But I mean, just to provide, let me say, a rough idea, we're not speaking about, I mean, we are speaking about in the order of magnitude of months of development. This is more or less the idea. But in any case, we will provide more specific date after having finalized the design session.
Thank you, Alberto. So next question is, when is the CK Audit sidechain going to be released?
If Rosario were here, that would be a great question for her. I wonder, is Maurizio on? I'm not seeing Maurizio. I can give a high level answer, which is, so we've been working with Celsius for some time on a proof of concept called ZK Audit. And the goal of the project is to bring transparency to Celsius's business operations. So they borrow and lend a significant amount of Bitcoin, and they'd like to prove to the world that they actually hold the Bitcoin they claim they hold, and that they're making the payments, the Bitcoin payments that they claim they're making. And so blockchain is obviously an excellent use case for the transparency piece. And our zero knowledge technology is an excellent component for privacy. And in this case, what Celsius is trying to keep private is the actual addresses where the Bitcoin is held, so that third parties aren't subject to security risks. So they want to verify that they have assets without disclosing the addresses of those assets to the world. So the partnership is a great collaboration. I think the goal at this point is for the POC to go into production. I think it's on testnet right now. And then when it goes quote unquote live, I think is still TBD. It will go live on a testnet, and then from there, it's really going to be about Celsius and Horizen sitting down and deciding how to take the project to the next level. I can just say, having spoken to a number of other centralized custodians, there is very strong demand for a product like this across the board. So everyone we've spoken to is interested in participating in ZK Audit or some version of it. So hopefully we'll be able to give more updates. I think the person who would know best would be Rosario, and so hopefully next week she can chime in. Thanks, Angie.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean. And the third and final question is, what has been the largest pain point, pain point on development and growing the Horizen ecosystem?
Wow. Okay, that's a tough one. So I would say so this is from my perspective, right? I think people greatly underestimate how difficult it is to build new technology. It's really challenging on so many different levels. And I think most of us, and I'm including myself, prior to really getting my hands dirty in crypto development, just assumed that things happen like they do in traditional software development. But the reality is, so much of what we're doing is R&D, research and development. And as much as that's a hard thing from a business perspective to swallow, it's just the reality. The technology that Alberto and his team are building is cutting edge, and it's not like you can just take this out of a box or download it from some pre-existing library. We are making cutting edge technology from scratch, and that always just takes longer than expected and is more difficult than anticipated. So I would say the biggest challenge that I've seen has been actually bringing the amazing vision that we have to life. And it's just because it's really complicated. It's not easy, and it takes time. And but the good news is we've never been closer than we are today. And I think the team has just gotten so good at this process and better each month. And so very hopeful that we're finally turning a lot of what was R&D into actual production. And that was the biggest obstacle, and I think we're very close to clearing it.
And if I can add something, Dean, the additional thing is that, it's not just having, for example, the SDK ready to be used. It's also necessary having all the other tools that are needed for building the application. For example, having the block explorer able to serve, like clients, and this has to be customized, for example, for the specific application, if the specific application needs it, or the wallet. So currently, we are seeing for the tokenization platform, as an example, a first application that implement all the necessary pieces that are the sidechain node per se, and also the block explorer and the wallet that allows you to do the minting of the tokens and exchanging the ownership of the tokens, and having a proper block explorer, for example, showing this additional information. So what we have done was to, complete the first version of the SDK, the Blaze version, and then on top of it, having the product team building the other pieces that are needed for a specific use case. And this obviously took time. It was and also was the first iteration we did. And now there are many other possibilities. Now the core pieces are there. So as also we mentioned before, ZK Audit is another big example of another application that can be built on top of the SDK and have a very powerful usage and solves many needs that currently weren't able to find a solution. Because, for example, proving something on the Bitcoin network and without leaking, let me say, privacy information on it, wasn't really possible. Now, with this kind of solution, it's possible. So I think that now we are in the position to start seeing other applications growing, because we have all the pieces there, and obviously some others will come, and some other new version also, improved version will come. But at least now we have the pieces that are ready to be used to develop the specific use cases.
All right. Thank you so much, Dean and Alberto, for answering the top questions. Expect more news and very exciting updates on next week. So I guess that's it. It's going to be a bit early finish today, but still, we're going to be waiting for you next week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here, and we'll see you all next Monday for the latest Horizen updates. Have an excellent week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.